Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another video. Today we are testing cardrush condition ratings. Cardrush is a very famous big Japanese card store that I think a lot of people outside of Japan buy from regularly too. The big question of course is, well, is cardrush a good place to buy from? And do their condition ratings check out? What do the condition ratings even mean? And yeah, I just kind of wanted to test this out myself in a video. So I bought these cards in various conditions, the 10th movie promo Lugia and the CP3 Charizard. I think English, it's in the Radiant collection, X and Y. So we have condition A minus, B, C. For these, I only have A minus, and B. They didn't have condition C in stock. But yeah, what does a condition C card actually look like? And what's the difference between a condition A and A minus card? Is it accurate? Is it consistent? It's a very small sample size, but I think this will give us a very good idea. All right, we'll put these to the side for now, and we will start with the Lugia. We'll go low to high grade. You can see, of course, these numbers as well. These are the prices, just FYI. In Japanese yen. I'll try and throw up the US dollar value just to make it a bit easier for everyone. All right, we'll start with condition C. What does a condition C card look like? Man, this card is so cool. Beautiful card. 890 yen condition C. All right, let's have a look. Oh, by the way, I also brought a black light so we can do a black light test to check for whitening, which is much easier to see with a black light, especially in Japanese new back cards. But yeah, let's get right into this. Condition C Lugia. So this is going to be a bit difficult to show because cards always look better in a video, but I'll do my best. The front, at first glance, looks pretty clean, but once you get a better look, we can see right here, the top corner has some pretty big issues. There's also a foreign substance on the card down here. It looks pretty nasty and gunky. You might be able to clean something like that off. In terms of surface wear, there are scratches that, yeah, you can kind of see them right here. There's also scratches down here. And I can assure you, in person, it looks much more severe. This is a pretty beat up card. If we have a look at the back, we can also see, a lot of scratches. Again, it's so hard to show in video. You can see, a lot of whitening. Very, very rough around the edges. There's also a little bit of a binder ding down here, it looks like. Yeah, this is just a very, very played card. Yeah, you can kind of get the idea here. Very, very played card, pretty rough condition, but of course, that's why it has a relatively low price in comparison to the others. Okay, that was condition C. Now let's have a look at condition B. 2,000 yen here. So condition B is significantly better, like way, way better, but still some issues. We can see at the top edge, there are some edge issues that are pretty hard to pick up. And then on the back, it's a bit more noticeable on the back. You can see right there at the top edge. There's also a little something stuck to the card. Might be able to wipe that off. I don't know. Might try it later. There are still scratches on the back, although it's significantly less. And it does have, however, a little indentation down there at the bottom. You can see the little dent right there. In terms of whitening, it does have some whitening. We'll see that much better with the black light afterwards. But a significant improvement or jump in condition from condition C. I might have a theory on that afterwards, so stay tuned. A little bit of a spicy take there. I'll get to that afterwards. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Again, in the video, it just looks like, oh, the surface looks so clean. Trust me, there are definitely noticeable scratches here, but way, way better than condition C. All right, let's get to condition A minus. So we're jumping to 3,790 yen. So quite a big jump in price here. Worth noting as well, of course, you are buying these cards blind. You're not seeing pictures of individual cards. So centering is always just a gamble. You never know what kind of centering you will get. So even if you get like a super minty card in condition A or whatever, A minus even potentially, you might still get an OC card, of course. So, but yeah. So the front of this card, I don't see much on here at all. It has a very clean front surface. And then the back is very, very clean. Like, this is a super clean card. There are a few minor scratches. Let me see if I can find one. I don't know if it's going to show, but there are some very, very minor scratches on here. But overall, I was pretty surprised with the condition of this card. Considering it's A minus, this is a very, very clean card. Maybe the top corner a little bit there, a little whitening on the front chipping. But overall, yeah, another decent jump in condition from B to A, or A minus, sorry. Not as major of a difference as C to B. But let's have a look at condition A. Now, the condition A, you can see we're at 7,000 yen now, which is, of course, another major jump in price. Now, how much better is it? We just saw that A minus. And by the way, I want to point out there is a little bit of whitening on this card. Down here, you can see it right there. But again, we'll go to the black light later to see it better. Condition A. All right, let's have a look. Pretty hefty price on this card in condition A, not gonna lie. The front is very clean. You know, I don't see anything wrong with it. I've inspected these cards before I started the video, so just kind of going over them again. But I've taken my time with these, trust me, and this is a really clean card. I don't see any like big scratches or anything that stands out. There's still maybe some minor scratches on the back. In terms of whitening, I don't really see anything that like stands out. You might even say this doesn't have any whitening. This looks like a super clean card, and really the only big difference between A and A minus here is that little bit of whitening down here, and it's so minor. So we'll jump to the black light now, and I'll adjust my lighting a little bit, so this is going to look a little bit weird maybe, but the black light will tell us a lot. So I'm only using my ambient light now from my window, but this will just show the whitening much better. And you can see, this is the condition C card. Yeah, the white edges just really stand out under the black light. Now the condition B card, the most notable thing was a bit of whitening and then the bottom little indentation. So you can see here under the black light, yeah, condition B, the whitening definitely becomes more noticeable. That little thing on the surface there that I might be able to get off as well, right above the K. The thing about modern or new back Japanese cards is that whitening can be kind of hard to see. It's just the way the cards are printed, the color of the borders. Sometimes you might look at a card and be like, oh, there's no whitening. And then you put it under black light and you're like, oh, actually, there's quite a bit of whitening. So, you know, condition B, you know, for the price, it isn't bad. It is certainly not like in gradable condition, especially the top edge is kind of rough. All right, so then A minus, this is where it gets interesting with the black light. This one was the one little white nick that was visible, and then there's actually more that wasn't quite visible to the naked eye. Now, I'm being very picky here. No one's inspecting cards this accurately or closely, even, you know, PSA isn't. But there is whitening on the bottom edge, so in multiple places. So like right here and then here, right? Yeah, you can see it there. And then the right side, you know, I don't see anything. So like, I mean, this is a near mint card for sure, still in this condition. A minus, I think it totally makes sense to me. All right, now condition A. I can kind of go through this quickly because if I remember correctly, there shouldn't be anything. Actually, oh, never mind. I just spotted something at the top edge. Oh man, this is hard to show. The tiniest white mark. There, you can kind of see it there. Oh gosh, it's so hard to see. I'm going to put my finger right behind it. There you can kind of see it. I mean, that could be like, you know, a factory cut. I mean, honestly, this is fine. There's nothing really wrong with this card. I mean, I'm being super picky there. So these are the results for the Lugia. Honestly, I think everything's kind of on point. It checks out. And the prices, whether or not these are good prices, I'll get to that towards the end of the video, whether it makes sense to buy from cardrush. But in terms of the condition rating here, you can clearly see a difference between A minus, B, and C. And the prices reflect that. And yeah, I don't see any issues here. But now it's going to get interesting. Now we're going to go to the CP3 Charizard. This is where it gets a bit more interesting. Okay, so we had A minus, and B as well for the Lugia, and you just saw what that condition looked like on those cards. So let's start with condition B for the CP3 Charizard. Just gonna make some room here. 1,290 yen. The front looks very clean. I couldn't really find anything wrong. On these, it's really hard to see like minor scratches. It's just, you know, the way the cards are printed or the holofoil layer or whatever. These are, by the way, very, very beautiful cards. And then the back. So the back has noticeable whitening, which of course from a condition B you would expect. In terms of scratches, there are a couple of places with some minor surface scratches, like this tiny little thing right there. There's a little something right here. Overall, very clean card. I will say though, these X and Y backed cards, they have a different surface texture. They don't scratch as easily as like these older cards, because these older cards have a more glossy texture on the back. But yeah, overall, surface-wise, this is a pretty clean card, but the major issues are going to be the edges and the corners. So we'll look at these closer under the black light in a second. But overall, condition B, I think, is totally fair. Like, it's overall a pretty nice card to look at. All right, A minus, 2,790 yen. Let's have a look at this one. So this one is interesting. I forgot. Condition B card also has a bit of a lipped corner here. There, you can kind of see it there. Right? It's a bit of a corner issue right there. Okay. Back to A minus. A minus, same story here. The front surface, I can't find anything wrong with it. And then the back surface, also very clean, but there are some minor scratches. There you go, you can see them right there. Actually, this angle shows it pretty well. You can see them right here. So I'd actually argue that the condition B surface was slightly better than the condition A minus surface, but this is probably still within A minus standards, if that makes sense. Like, I think this card got the B for the edges and corners, not because of the surface. This one, however, still has, quite a bit of whitening. So this is what surprised me, because this condition A minus is significantly worse in terms of whitening than the condition A minus Lugia we just saw. We'll do the comparison afterwards between the two different cards. And then condition A. So 4,980 yen. Again, we're jumping by about 2,000 yen here, 2,200 yen. Good example here as well. So this is the highest rating they have. Centering, right? So this is a good example. You might get like a card that's like off center, top to bottom. It's just, randomly. You have to be lucky to get good centering. Now this one does have a cleaner surface. I don't really see any scratches that pop out big time. There's a little something on the Pokeball right there. You can kind of see it if you look closely. Right where it goes from black to red, there's a bit of a scratch, but that's very, very minor. And then it still has a bit of whitening. You can see right there. Once again, we'll go to the black light in just a second. Yeah, but I mean, I gotta be honest with you. Like, I think the condition A minus Lugia was better than the condition A Charizard. Let's have a look with the black light. All right, condition B Charizard black light test, and we can see, kind of a rough corner right there. And then the top edge actually looks okay. We get a bit something on this corner here as well. You can just kind of see the way, it kind of pops out. Noticeable whitening on this edge. Up here and then down here. Bottom corner whitening. The bottom edge actually looks pretty decent. And then the left side has a bit something in the corner. So yeah, just a good amount of whitening. Makes sense for condition B. A minus. A minus actually has a pretty rough looking corner there in terms of whitening. I mean, yeah. It's just all around the corner. It's just white. Then there's another kind of big piece up there. There's multiple smaller specks on like this edge. You can see them kind of pop up there a little bit. Down here as well. On this corner too. Bottom edge looks okay. And then the left edge looks okay. So I don't know. That's quite a bit of whitening for A minus, in my opinion. And then condition A. We get the little white chip up there. We got a little bit something on the corner. There, you can kind of see it when I move the light around. And I'm being pretty picky, but just want to point it out, right? A little something on the bottom corner. A little something on the left edge. Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible, but it is noticeable. Decent amount of whitening. So actually, the condition A minus Lugia is in significantly better condition than the condition A Charizard, even though this card is from 2007 and this card is from 2016. There is a big difference. The Lugia has a much cleaner back surface. Not that this Charizard is like bad or anything, but noticeably better on the surface. And then the edges as well, if we do like a one-to-one comparison, the bottom edge, we got like 2 issues on the Lugia, and then like this corner alone has like 3 dots on the Charizard. And then again on this corner, on this bottom edge, it's quite visible even without the black light. At the top edge, so A- can be better than A, even if the card is, 9 years older? Kind of wild, in my opinion. So obviously this is happening because Cardrush isn't spending a lot of time carefully inspecting these cards. These are not very expensive cards, although this kind of experiment cost me a bit of money, I'm not gonna lie. But these are not high-end cards, so they're not being inspected super carefully. So it makes sense that there will be some inconsistency, but that's something you need to be aware of, that an A- condition card can be better than a condition A card. It's kind of crazy. And then also that like sometimes the difference between like A and A-, like these two, like they're almost identical in terms of the quality. There's no big difference here. A little better, but very, very small difference. Now, Cardrush does have condition S. However, condition S, they only use for super high-end cards. So all the cards that are considered, very collectible, highly sought after, shinings, crystals, gold stars, they can be ranked condition S. Now, condition S still doesn't mean perfect, but cards like these and ultra modern cards you will never see in condition S. So condition A is the best you can go by. Worth noting, by the way, as well, with Cardrush, they explain as well, if there is no condition rating on a card, that just means it's condition A. So there you go. Now, what about condition D? Cardrush technically has a condition D. However, it is also reserved only for these super high-end, highly sought-after cards, the very expensive ones, which I think is interesting because it raises the question of what's happening to the condition D CP3 Charizards, to the condition D, 10th movie Lugias. Where do those condition D cards go? Are they just not selling them? Or are they grouping them together with the condition C cards? Which I think is a possibility. Bit of a tinfoil hat here, a bit of a spicy take. But, what's happening? I mean, they must have some of these cards in condition D, because you search for condition D on their store, and the only cards that pop up, either available or sold out, are going to be the high-end cards. So across all the cards in the hobby that aren't super high-end expensive, I'm sure Cardrush has some of those in condition D that it could be selling. I don't know. I think that's a little weird. But that's one of the things. Now, is Cardrush a good place to buy from? Does it make sense? I think that heavily depends on what your goal is. If you are looking for gradable cards, I think it only makes sense for ultra modern cards. And if you buy in large quantities, if you buy one copy of an ultra modern card in condition A, yeah, there's a decent chance it's PSA 10 worthy, surface edges corner wise, but you might get unlucky and get an off-center card. So I think it only makes sense if you buy multiple copies. Not everyone wants to do that. For these older cards, X and Y, I would say even Sun and Moon, I don't think it's worth buying from Cardrush if you want to grade. Like, could this card get a PSA 10? I think it could. It's very clean. It's got like the tiniest little white nick, if I remember correctly. I already kind of forgot, but this is a very, very clean card. Centering isn't perfect. It's a little heavy on the right, but this could technically get a PSA 10. However, we have seen that in condition A, you can get cards like this that are much, much younger, that are not as old as these, that have noticeable issues on the edges, that this would not get a PSA 10 most likely. I mean, I've seen PSA 10s that have kind of edges like this, but it's certainly not something you would send in expecting a 10. It's just a massive gamble. You're just kind of trying your luck. And, oh man. And also, if you're looking for old back cards, I wanted to buy some old back cards for this experiment. They don't have any for sale. unless they are the really high-end cards. So there is no like base set Alakazam on Cardrush. They're just not there. If you want to grade cards, I think you are better off looking on eBay, looking on Medicare, those kinds of places, because you can, first of all, actually see the pictures of the card, and then second, you probably get a better price too. Like, this is a pretty high price for this card, even though it is very clean. Now, if you are looking for binder copies, I think the secondary market, Yahoo, Medicare, whatever, eBay, is still better because you will probably get better prices. However, I understand the convenience of Cardrush. They have a storefront. You can just add something to your cart and they ship it to you. And like I mentioned earlier, I think I mentioned, I'm not sure, but they have like an international shipping service attached to the website. So I don't think you even need your own middleman service, although I think a lot of people prefer that because I think it's cheaper. I get the convenience. But if you want binder copies, I don't think it's worth going with Condition A. I think Condition A- is going to be the best bang for your buck because these two are in almost the same condition. This is better condition than this card from this very, very, very small sample size. Now, I have bought from Cardrush in the past, so I have more experience than just these cards, but it's still a gamble, but the best bang for your buck is probably A-. Heck, if you're okay with even a little bit more damage, I think Condition B is still fine because it's another pretty big price jump between Condition A- and B, of course. Now, C, this card is rough looking, even though in the video at first glance it might look fine. But trust me, this card is like heavily played. It's pretty dirty. Binder copies, I think it makes sense to grade. There are better options out there, safer options, better prices. You can see the pictures. Ultra modern cards, you can probably safely buy in Condition A and feel good about it and not have to worry too much. But for anything older, I don't know if Cardrush is the best place to buy from. I hope this was educational. I hope this was helpful. You know, at the end of the day, these are all inspected very, very quickly at Cardrush. They don't spend a lot of time on these, so the inconsistency it makes sense to me. It's understandable, but it just demonstrates that you can't blindly go off of these condition ratings and assume that the higher, more expensive cards will always be better in better condition than the slightly cheaper cards, or that you're going to get like PSA 10 worthy cards. It's just something you have to kind of understand before you purchase from them. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below. What did you think about this video? Was it helpful? Did you enjoy it? Have you bought from Cardrush before? Whatever you want to talk about, feel free to write it down below. I'd love to read it. Thank you so much. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for that, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.